Gotta look where you're going every minute.
गलत आदमी की रोटियां ना खाया करो साहब। सबको मालूम रहता है हम कितने भी अच्छे हो गलत।
Well, that was a disaster. I just got back from my first attempt at a walk and talk. I thought it would be, because I have a lot of YouTubers that I follow and they go out and do walk and talks and they look so nice and chatty and calm. I get out here on the streets in India and I'm overloaded with stuff. And I should know better. I mean, I've been here 10 years and it's just chaotic in the streets, dodging cars and dogs and people and cows and potholes. But I thought I could do it. And I thought, well, you know, here I am on the way to the ATM. Let's talk about one of the big things that's happening in the world right now, that a lot of people it's just slipping under their radar because the mainstream media is not really talking about it too much. Not at all, maybe. But if you dig just a little bit underneath the surface, you will see what's coming, and it's not hidden. It's in plain sight. You can find a lot of information about it, and it is the changing of our monetary system from a fiat system to a digital currency. A lot of people may not even know it's happening, especially in first world countries, because they're already very used to paying for a coffee with their debit card. So it may not be a huge event for them, but a lot of people, especially here in India, where cash is king, they are having a hard time. I think they're going to have a hard time getting India to jump on the bandwagon for the digital currency. In matter of fact, I think this year in November, the Indian Bank of India, actually did come out with a CBCD, a central bank digital currency, CBDC. But it's probably only in the big cities right now. Most people out in the country, they're going to continue with cash. India tried one time to do a demonetization. I was here for the demonetization of the rupee back in November 8th, 2016, and it was one of the most monumental upheaves I've ever lived through, basically. Overnight, they demonetized 86% of the circulating fiat currency. They took away the 500 rupee note and the 1,000 rupee note overnight. Nobody knew about it one day. Well, I shouldn't say that. Some people knew about it because they went out and bought Lamborghinis and apartment buildings with cash. But most people the next day woke up and were told that their money was useless, that they couldn't use it, and this was all in a pretense to, or in the idea of taking black market and criminal activity out of the market, out of the country. But what it really did is end up, in the short term, hurting a lot of the little people, the peasants, the people like me walking in the streets, and there was no money anywhere, and they weren't really prepared because the ATMs hadn't even been fitted for the new currency. You could go to the bank and exchange your notes, but the lines were hours long to get into the banks to exchange your money. But there were people who knew about it and were prepared, because an hour after this was told, an hour after midnight, so 1 o'clock in the morning of this declaration, over 15 tons of gold were bought with currency. So it wasn't a shock to some people. And even today, I think there are more people using cash than ever. I know India is trying to get everybody on board with digital currency. I'm not sure how it's going to happen. I just don't think that it's going to be hard. 1.4 billion people, and right now, at least 10% have no banks. Those are the kind of the official figures. 10% have no bank accounts at all. But demonetization this is not the first time it's happened. Back in the American demonetization of 1873, the coinage demonetization, where they some silver coins out of circulation in order to bring in the gold standard, again under the pretenses of catching black money, black market money, black money, and the criminal activity. But what it really did was set the America into a 5-year economic depression and really hurt the little guys, the farmers and the debtors. All got crunched in that. And then back in 1969, which by the way happened to be is the first year that I was in India, and that was the year that President Nixon said that any bills over $100 were null and void. So you will not find any dollar bills over $100, null and void. And then again to catch black marketers, black money and criminal activity. And then 2 years later, he actually took the dollar off the gold standard, which leads us up kind of to where we are today, although that may have precipitated some of what we're coming into today. It's not the whole story, but I do kind of want to just cut this short and just kind of put a little bee in your bonnet, if you will, of what's coming. Well, I don't think I'll try walking and talking again, not on the streets here. That was crazy.